What is up, y'all? My name is Richmond. So, today we're going to be taking a look at the Pentax. This is the SMC Pentax Zoom 35-70, and it has a constant aperture of 2.8. So I just recently picked up the Pentax KP from a super awesome guy named Danny. He sold me this camera. He used it for wildlife photography. He picked up a couple of the lenses. I was very interested in the KP after I saw it. Ignore the Nikon strap. I just like thinner straps. I had my Nikon, which is right here. Came with a super thin strap, so I liked it. So I jacked it, put it on my KP. So anyways, so I picked it up. This was one of the lenses that came with it. I've been using this lens for about a week now. Usually I shoot with either an FZ1000 or an FZ1000 with Panasonic, and then I also shoot with my G9 with Panasonic, and then usually I shoot with the Leica Vario 12-60, or I am using the Lumix 25mm, which is the 50mm. So usually that's what I shoot with, but I've been shooting with this for the last week, and I am going to kind of let you know what I like, what I don't like, whether or not you should buy it. So first off, yes, you should buy it. It's under $100 on eBay, and to have a constant aperture at 2.8, all these different focal lengths, 35-70, is insane. And literally the lenses in here are such a high quality lens, even though it was made I think like in the 1978 to like 80 something. So for almost a 50-year-old lens, this one didn't have very much dust in the lens. So I've been using it. It's fantastic. When I'm taking landscape shots, it's fantastic on landscapes, buildings. Set it to infinity. I'm good to go. The shutter speed that I can get on the KP is insane, because a lot of times it's letting in so much light that I need to crank that shutter speed to even up to 1400ths of a second. Or 14 thousandths of a second. So I've had zero issues with that. Now, where I have issues is if I am running and gunning and I have to sit there and zoom. It's almost, a lot of times I'm doing street photography, street photo shoots, so I'm using a lot of natural light. This helps out. This is amazing with that, but the disadvantage is the manual focus. I use a ton of manual focus just because I shoot a lot of darker skin tone subjects that usually have like really beautiful intricate hair, and so the camera's going to want to focus on the hair over the subject's eyes, or the eyes, or there's no, I don't think I've experienced an autofocus that works super well with natural hair on darker skin tone subjects. So a lot of times I use manual focus anyways. So it was super easy to jump over. When I was at the park with my kids using this lens, like I said, I've only used it for a week. I've gone on a couple shoots. I took some fantastic photos. I was able to get amazing, lens blur, defocus backgrounds, amazing in-focus shots of them. I got great colors through. The color science was fantastic. That's probably, another tribute of the KP, of the Pentax. The only issue I had is when I'm focusing on darker skin tone subjects. I don't know if that's necessarily an issue with the lens. Of course it's not an issue with the lens. I don't think so, because the lens is just glass. It's not like there's any computer in here. There's no technology. Well, there's technology, but there's no software in this lens that would help contribute to that factor. I think it's just, again, a lot of modern cameras, you have 100 years of camera science that's designed for a certain skin tone and not the other. So I did have a lot of issues trying to focus on darker skin tones with the KP and that's the other thing is with the KP and these manual lenses, when you pick it up, you can only focus through the viewfinder, at least based off of what I found out so far. Maybe, when I break it down, go more into the manual, do a deep dive before I do a review on this, I'll be able to figure out how to manual focus with the actual display like you can on the Lumixes. But I was only able to discover how to manually focus through the viewfinder. So when I'm waiting it has a red dot that indicates, hey, boop, 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 you're in focus. When I'm sitting there trying to focus on the eyes, it just half the time I would get out of focus photos, half the time I got super crisp in focus photos. So that was my only gripe. Or like if I'm running and gunning, you know, trying to shoot a kid or a puppy or, you know, a dog, it was just really hard to get this thing focused fast enough to where I can shoot that subject. So if you're able to focus, you know, shoot something at infinity, do it well. You know, a lot of people say, based off of what I've read, that shooting at 8 to 11 at infinity works fantastic. So the f-stop at 8 to 11. Shooting at infinity, you get fantastic photos, no issues. That's probably true. So, based off of what I've done so far, I would definitely give this a 7, just because of the issue I talked about with the autofocus. If that wasn't an issue, this would definitely just be an 8, because again, without autofocus and trying to sit here and focus it, you know, it's going to limit you a lot. And the other issue, because I think this is an almost perfect lens, is the entry for using this is definitely at the intermediate level. The learning curve is super steep. Even after I've been shooting for years and using manual focus so much, it could just be because I'm switching over to a different platform or using a different platform, but this focusing manually on this on the fly is a little difficult. So if I can get it on the viewfinder, on the display, where I can actually have the picture within a picture display, and then I can really fine tune it, then that'd be fantastic. Or if it has something else besides a tiny little red dot, and looking through that viewfinder, maybe that would make it, you know, a little bit easier for somebody else to pick it up and just do it. Or I might just suck at doing it, I don't know. But I got some fantastic shots, so I would highly recommend picking this up. eBay, this is less than $100 from eBay. Just make sure that you get some good pictures of the lens through and through. This one has a little bit of dust on it, and then the other reason why I would say I give it a 7 is when I'm sitting here, and if I go to the farthest focal length, you can see, I don't know if it's going to autofocus on it, but you can see that the little lens on the inside actually retracts back and forth. And so when I was shooting the other day, I got some great shots at the park, then I went and I started to do a photo shoot at a location, and I didn't bring my little blower, and there was so much dust on this lens, I just had to stop. Like, I just couldn't even, there's nothing I could have done. Went home, grabbed my blower, blew out the lens, blew out the camera housing, and I was good to go, back in business. So definitely bring a blower, because if you're sitting there switching the focal length, you're going to get dust in your housing and dust on the inside of the lens. Other than that, it didn't really affect anything. You know, even after blowing that out and getting that taken care of, that wasn't a big issue. If you are going to go somewhere super dusty, I would highly recommend just keeping it at 70. Just don't even take it off 70, so that way there's pretty good weatherproofing on here. So keep it at 70, and then just make it a 70 prime lens at that point. Because this is a stack of primes. I'm sorry, keep it at 35, because this is like a stack of primes all in one housing, which is fantastic. But if you have it at 70, once you put it at 70, that sucker goes in, that back lens goes in, and you just, you know, you're going to have a lot of dust in the lens at that point. So yeah, next I'm going to be reviewing, after I take this out, I'm going to be doing the SMC Pentax 8 zoom. This one is the 35mm-70mm, and this is a macro photography lens. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that. This one has a constant aperture of 3.5 to 22, and then it has a little A, which I assume is automatic aperture, but I don't think it's going to work on this modern camera. So I'm going to take a gander at that one, and then I will be reviewing the Pentax KP after I have taken a look at it. Whether or not it's worth to pick one up, I don't know. I'm using a G9, so, you know, cameras made in 2017 don't seem to be a big issue as of now. So I'll take a look. Thanks for watching.